Love, love you, buddy. Okay, let's get live. Yeah, I know you're laughing there. That was a younger, more impressionable me. I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute. But welcome to everybody that jumped on our live Monday momentum call. Got over 1,100, going up to 1,200 of you. A lot will watch the replay. Just a time for us to come together and, as leaders, those that are really passionate, committed to just changing the world, quite truthfully, and our own lives in the process because of this journey. Just an additional layer of support to stay close to the campfire. We try to bring in some of the top leaders that are just out there making it happen with this gift right here. Tonight, you have to settle for me for just a little bit, but then I'm going to bring in my dear friend, Scotty B, who is a legend. So I'm going to go first because I don't want to follow those footsteps. But hopefully, friends, a little housekeeping. You got into your back office. The corporate update call recording is back there. As you'll hear from Peter and that, all roads are leading right to our banking integration, which is key. You're going to see more flash sales coming up. You see the Z Club getting better, customer service. It's all right there in the update. So I'll just tell you right now, we are shaping up on God's timing, whatever you want to call it. But I got the mic. I'll say God's timing. To just ease right into, or just come storming into an amazing 2024. So as we tell people, what you do here these next few weeks really can collapse timeframes and propel you into a truly transformational 2024 sooner versus later. We know success, money, they love speed. So those of you staying plugged in, engaged, out sharing, my dear friend Liz Perkins says, one a day. Come on, Eric, you can do it. I'm like, Liz, I think they can do 3, but okay. It's the holidays, at least 1 new share a day. Those of you that are doing that, plugging in to all the support, utilizing the 3-way calls, the VIP overviews, the recordings are obviously seeing your business continue to grow in a time when many others are not. So I just wanted to spend a little time with you here. Had a couple things I wanted to share, and then I'm going to turn it over to our really special guest in just a few minutes. But yes, that is a picture of me. If you're on the call last week at Peter Rancy, I'm not copying him. I had this in mind. He kind of stole my thunder. He just celebrated his 13th grandchild. 13th grandchild. It's a magical number, right? And talked about, kind of correlating that with Transact Card being in our infancy. And I said, dang it, Peter, I had this picture ready to go. That is my daughter, Jovi. That's me 8 years ago. Look at that. No lines, Scotty, no gray hairs. I mean, what did you do to me these last 8 years, brother? So no, that was our last child with my wife and I. She was a miracle baby. It was a struggle getting her here. And I want to start off by saying, look, I would never, ever pretend, those of you that are parents, that, having a child, giving birth is really in the same category as starting a home-based business. But at the same time, if you really have a card inside of you, and the fact that you're watching this or the recording means that you really have some big aspirations, goals, and you want to change your life and the lives of others with this, there are a lot of parallels. But obviously the gift of childhood is something miraculous for those of you that have experienced that or will experience that. But yeah, we just gave birth recently to Transact Card. It's we are in our infancy stage. And, those of you that had babies, they can be messy. Jovi had a lot of diarrhea. She was a messy baby, but gosh, did we throw her out? No, when times got rough, when my wife, mostly not me, was up throughout the night, dealing with her, trying to get to bed. No, we loved her. We nurtured her. We took care of her. What was going to come. And here we are just 8 years later. Now I'll be on her shoulders soon. But, why am I sharing this, friends? Look, here we are with Transact Card. We gave birth to this global force for good. And is it where any of us really want or maybe expected us to be right now? Possibly not. But are we co-creators? My hope is yes. It's easy to kind of check out when things are tough. And let's be very clear, in the large scope of the world, things are not tough here in Transact Card. But today's the worst we're ever going to be. Okay. Maybe you're expecting some more things in the Z Club. Maybe you're expecting this. Maybe you're expecting that. I don't know what your expectations were, but what I would encourage you to do is just step back and focus on what we do have. You hear me say a lot, what we focus on expands. And it's pretty remarkable that in less than 9 months, we brought together, right at 100,000. Congratulations, we're at the 100,000th celebration of about 40,000 DBOs and 60,000 TCMs. Okay, that's about where we're at right now. The ratio of TCMs and DBOs is up to about 3 to 1, which is where we want to see it, continue to project higher. So let's celebrate that. And we can choose to focus on everything we do have or the things we don't have yet. I focus on the fact that we have attracted more amazing 6-7-figure earners and those that have yet to achieve that, but will, that have put their egos aside. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens, okay, of people who have had a lot of success in relationship marketing. Lots of other people have had success in traditional business, charitable work, church, organized religion, even the rock star stay-at-home mom or dad. Okay, we have just attracted some really amazing people. And, to me, that's the hardest part in any relationship-driven endeavor. It's getting the right people to catch a vision together. And, most companies would go years to try to get one of the hundreds of you I see on this call right here. So that's really, really special to me. Number two, I look at our website. That's $1 million website. Like I've seen Fortune 100 companies that don't have a website as good as ours. I look at our back office that was built, that's proprietary, it's built from the ground up from our tech team. That's world-class. I look at some of these videos that are coming out through the, the funnels and the digital experience. And I'm like, man, those are world-class videos. I look at a guy like Peter Rancy, who I just, quite truthfully, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Peter. I love him. I trust him. I know he wants this to be his legacy. I love coming alongside him and helping that to manifest in whatever gifts, talents, skills we can bring. I love his integrity. I love his transparency. And I love all of you. That's what I choose to focus on every day. Now, when I look at the Z Club, it's interesting because I get a lot more messages saying, Eric, I just bought these Under Armour flip-flops. Eric, look, I just bought this necklace. Eric, look, I just got this shirt. And it's like, I just saved more than my entire lifetime membership as a Transact card member. See, some of you are looking at this as needing everything to be there. You want to be Amazon fast forwarded 35 years. Okay, that Z Club is built from the ground up. And what we should mandate is not perfection, it's positive progression. I have people going into the travel platform that have already booked cruises, hotels, and resorts that have saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars off that one purchase. Keep in mind our end customer. You guys realize having customers is a good thing, right? Having $25 Transact card members that just swipe cards to get real value. $25 one time, and they're getting all this value already. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, and today's the worst we're going to be. And next week's the worst we're going to be. And the week after that's the worst we're going to be, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, I really would encourage you to focus on all the things we do have. And many of you are, so don't get me wrong. But again, we're just in our infancy. We're going to nurse this thing. You heard Peter say that. We're going to reinvest. We're going to get the right people, the right processes, the right programs, the right value. And I promise you, 6 months from now, this is going to be a heck of a lot easier than it is. And 6 years from now, in many ways, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier than it is today. And 10 years from now, people are going to hear your name if you stick it out, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, you are so lucky. You were at Transact Card in the very, very beginning. You know how lucky you are? You know what I would kill to do that? It's like, buying an IPO on the pink sheets. It's like when they're on the pink sheets, it's like buying real estate before it appraised exponentially. It's like, timing. And they're going to say, you're so lucky. And we're just going to shake our heads like, you have no idea how good you have it now. It was nothing like this. It was nothing like this in the very, very beginning. And there's actually Nick Sorensen sent me a quote. Some business guru said, if you don't look back and have complete embarrassment on your first product offering, then you started too late. And I'm not embarrassed at all what we have and more importantly, who we've attracted. So hope that resonates with you. We just gave birth. Okay. We're cleaning her up. You're seeing an improvement each and every day, each and every week. And, imagine we get our banks our checking account set up, we get our virtual card, then our physical cards, we get these flash sales rocking out, we get more travel, we do cruise takeovers, resort takeovers. You eventually have lots and lots of items with great, great value, 20, 30, 40, 50% or more. So friends, okay, I know patience isn't always a virtue, but I'll tell you what, there's more than enough here now. Those of you that want to get out and find like-minded people to align their reputations with and go and dramatically change the rest of their lives. All right, so just got a couple more things here. Speaking of Jovi, speaking of my kids, raise your hand if you've ever read this book. Oh, The Places You'll Go. Anybody ever read this? Anybody ever heard of it? Okay. A lot of you have. You're probably like, man, is Eric back on the sauce? Where's he going with this one? Well, here's where I'm going with this. You know, I kind of talked to you about my kids. Well, speaking of them, I've read this book over 100 times to my kids. I've got it pretty much memorized by now. And I think there's a lot of life lessons in here. There's a lot of life lessons. And those of you that, you know, have chosen and answered the call to leadership, who've been entrepreneurs, there's a lot of, I want you to read it with fresh eyes. Let's just put it that way. And I want to share something with you. This, something my kids are like, oh my, Dad, are you going to read this again? As it's over and over and over. But it's quite truthfully one of the greatest personal development books ever written. So let me read this to you. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know. And you are the guy or girl who will decide where to go. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you'll play against you. All alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something. You'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Transact card, we will move mountains. And, you know, I get the chills every time I read that, because the life of an entrepreneur sometimes can be really lonely. But the magic in this journey is we're never alone. Now, it's going to seem like it in your corner of the world where you call home. It's going to seem like people just don't get it. It's not the no-brainer that you thought it was going to be. And that's why it's so important that you surround yourself with a positive, uplifting family where you're celebrated, not tolerated. But there's a lot of profound words in there. But friends, my commitment to you is if you will just stay engaged, you will stay around positive, uplifting people that love you, that nurture you, that are going to be there for you, because we're never going to fire anybody. We're never going to give up on you. If you don't give up on yourselves, then I'd like to think eventually we're at least can get you to manager. And then we can work on the rest. And in the process, you're going to build some lifelong friendships, and you're going to be a part of something that truly, truly transforms the world. So thanks for letting me share that with you. Got a couple more slides here. I'm going to kick it over to my dear friend, Scotty. I think my life sometimes is a big meme. I'm going to share some of my favorite memes here. Sometimes they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. You know, I don't have the oratory or storytelling skill set of a Steve Campbell or a Randy Schrader or some of the other leaders. Those are exponential words in those stories. That's just a gift. But, you know, I just look at some of my favorite images, some of my favorite memes, because right now I know there's so many of you that really need this to work, and you got the dream, then comes the struggle, and then there's the victory. Okay. That's the journey to success. And I've seen so many people, they're digging, and they just give up. They let the little things in life steal away the big things. And for the most part, they're all little things. compared to what we're able to do here with Transact Card. And so many people give up during the struggle, and they never know how close they were to victory. And again, the only way you fail is to quit. And my hope is none of you, the 1,500 of you on this presentation and those that'll watch the recording, is just don't give up. You know, a mentor of mine once said, just pay attention, get excited, and never quit. Pay attention, get excited, never quit. And I promise you, those that stick this out, oh my goodness, it's going to be like the journey we've all been waiting for. So 2 more, then I'm going to let you go, or then I'm going to turn it over. I think Zig Ziglar's credited with this quote: there's no elevator success. You have to take the stairs. Everybody wants the shortcut. Everybody wants the magic bullet, the secret formula. And what I found is the winners in life, the winners in Transact Card, they've learned to master the mundane. They're willing to do the simple things each and every day that most people are not willing to do. They're able to get excited about that next 3-way call, that next invite, that next Zoom, that next coffee meeting, because they know they're just one good meeting away from changing their life forever. And right now we're up on these stairs. We're working our way up. And years from now, you'll be able to look down and you're going to see the freeway of success with Transact Card. As I talked about, it's only going to get easier in time. You're going to see people just blowing by on this freeway. And they're all going to be in your lane. They're all going to be on your road, just enjoying the fruits of your labor, because everything is so smoothed out, streamlined, and so much more conducive to success. There's going to be a time where people are just signing up to get a Transact Card because somebody they just heard from too many people from too many places how awesome it is. And you look down at that freeway of success, knowing that you took that difficult road in the beginning to be able to look over the fruits of your labor. I love that image. And then my favorite one, I got a poster of this in my office. You know, most people, they love to look at success. They don't realize what happens, you know, the sacrifices, those things. And at the end of the day, we don't want anybody here, you know, making tremendous sacrifices that put your family in peril. We would never ask for that. And my promise to you is it's not always going to be easy. It is very simple, and it most definitely is going to be worth it. So hopefully you got some words of encouragement. Maybe you got a nugget or two that you can apply. Maybe some of those words resonated with the feelings, emotions you have right now. I appreciate you letting me share that. But I promise you, those of you stay consistent, persistent, you're going to be successful here. And the rest of the world's going to look and say, oh, they got so lucky. And you're going to know, and we're going to know with you. No, we were just willing to do the things that most people are not willing to do day in and day out until success became inevitable. Okay, now I finally get to be quiet. Scotty B, get that camera on, buddy. They've heard enough from me. I have the pleasure now of introducing a dear brother that came into my life through relationship marketing, actually, and just one of those very, very special relationships. And you know, it's funny, a lot of the network of Transact Card was built because I put in 86 DBOs, you know, somewhat quickly, within a few weeks. Scotty was not one of the first 86, but he's definitely one of the ones who's a big part of our success. He, you know, it's always a timing issue. Him and I have been doing other businesses in the traditional world together. And he just finally one day we asked some tough questions and he said, all right, let's get going. And he's a pleasure to work with. He embodies the best part of this journey, which is in the relationships of the people that come into our life. And he brings over 40 years. He's forgotten more than most people know about success, love, happiness. No, just definitely relationship marketing. And he brings a really good, powerful perspective into the power of now. And as I say, the trends are our friends and what he's seen. But I get to call him a brother. He has already worked his way up to vice president in Transact Card. Get your notepads out, your note taker, whatever you use, and listen to my dear friend, Mr. Scotty Merker. Take it away, brother.
Eric. Hey, thank you so much, brother. And thank you for meeting with Ms. Ceci this morning. That was awesome, brother.
That was great. She's awesome.
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. Well, hey, great evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here real quick because I've got a little something I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Eric asked me if I could share something pretty specific. I think it was on Saturday's call, or the call that we had just had. he actually last week on Thursday night, he had me speak just for a quick little testimonial, and I shared something. He said, "Hey, do you
That's
think
why
you
you're here,
could
Scotty. The people are like, who's that Scotty? Who's Scotty? I need more Scotty Merker. Give me some more of that Scotty Merker. Let's go."
Hey, I think there was just a good topic, and it was a little different than what we normally hear. And so it probably touched a few people. But guys, this is a really interesting time right now. And I'm going to share something with you here. The thing that I love about this industry is probably the same thing most of you love. And a lot of people think it's the money. And as good as the money is, there's no question that to me, there's something that's 1,000 times better. And that's the relationships. And I know when people hear that, sometimes they say, yeah, they're probably just saying that. But no, definitely not. Anybody I know that I know well in this industry that's done extremely well, no question, people want to make the money they make because that's why we have business. That's why we do business. But the value of the relationships, you just can't put a price tag on it until you've established relationships that transcend decades, that transcend countries and languages and cultures and religions and political views all around the world, even just all around the country. It's hard to understand that. That truly is the beautiful part of this. And it's that heart-centric side. To me, it's like combining entrepreneurship with the church, but it's not a big church. It's like you're in a big church, but you're going to go plant a new church from the big church. You're going to go start something new. You've got that drive, that energy, that entrepreneurship. You've got the people that are with you on that mission. You have a vision of where you want to go, and it's a mission you're looking to accomplish. You're on purpose. You're on task. And so with that to me is the most beautiful part about this business when it works right. And when it works right, there's nothing in the world like it. And when it doesn't work right, there's nothing in the world like it as well. So it's really interesting that. But however, one of the things that I've always loved about this industry is really understanding the business behind the actual business. The psychology, some of the philosophies behind it, some of the strategies, and why things have worked the way they have. There's some really amazing stories, not for tonight out there, as to what's happened with companies over time. Some are just absolutely astonishing and amazing, and other ones are heart-wrenching. But it's all the part of the evolution of this industry. And the interesting thing, though, is what I'm hoping that you can get out of this is whether you get this for yourself or if you're totally one of the people that's on the emotional, heart-centric side, which that's a big part of who I am. So this actually is kind of my nerdy little small side over here, but I'm really more of the relationship, the people. I love hugging, I love high-fiving, I love celebrating. But there's that one little nerdy part that is just for whatever reason, it's just been that little stick kind of in my craw that I've always just wanted to know about. And so I've made it part of my life inside of this industry, which is now going on 34 years, to really learn as much about this as I can. And so what I'm going to share with you tonight is one of three reasons why Transact Card truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I know a lot of people say that. Almost every company you get with, they say, oh, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But that's thrown around pretty loosely, just like the term momentum, if you look at it by definition, is always thrown around way too loosely. The beautiful thing is we do have a great shot for momentum, true momentum in the future. But this is one of three I just want to share. Once in a lifetime, those of you that are a little bit older like me, a little bit wiser maybe, you might know what that picture is. So let's go on and move into this, guys. So what I want to talk about is something you've probably heard many times. History is a great predictor of the future. Have you ever heard that? Well, a lot of people have heard it, but sometimes it's one of those things like a lot of cliches that you hear where it goes in one ear and right out the other. But if you look in the world of business, you can look historically at what has happened. And many times what's going to happen if you've studied history in a certain topic, not just business, but in anything, when you start going forward in the future, what happens is you're more able to correctly identify key elements that you say, okay, I recognize that. I've read about that. I've studied that. I remember some stories about that. And many times because of knowing history, it gives you the ability to navigate and make the proper decisions going forward in the future that can either save you a lot or potentially make you a lot in what it is that you're doing. And knowledge is power. So knowledge of history gives you the ability to predict in the future what potentially is going to happen. So I want to talk about our industry specific as it relates to this. So the start of the modern day home-based business industry, by all intents and purposes, is when Amway started back in 1959. They launched in 59. As of today, this year, they've got over 3 million active independent business owners, which is their term. Ours would be DBOs. They call theirs IBOs. They've got over 3 million active IBOs around the world. I don't know because I can't find it. I've looked, I've asked people, but they've had tens of millions of people that have joined that company since it started. They don't publish those numbers. I don't know if it's 30 million, 50 million. I don't know, but it's definitely tens of millions of people that have joined since they started in 59. They're 64 years old, coming up on their 65th anniversary. They're in well over 100 countries. Their sales in 22 was $8.1 billion. Still the biggest in this industry by far. And you know, the interesting thing is tonight, somewhere in our country and somewhere probably in 100 plus countries, somebody's doing a meeting and somebody's attending that meeting and somebody's going to join as a brand new IBO with inside that company. Now, I know for some of you that are on here, you're like, how in the world could they do it? Well, I'll tell you how. For some of the ones that are younger, you know what? They're not looking to hit the home run, the grand slam. They're not looking to get massively wealthy. They're just looking for a way to make an extra $300, $400, $500 a month to afford all the massive inflation that's been going on and be able to afford just a few of the necessities of life. If they can make a few thousand, that's great. If it gets bigger than that, it's great. Not saying there's not some of them that don't have the vision and the drive and the desire for something massive. The majority are just looking for something. So what they see here, they see stability. They see very low risk, and a concept of buying from yourself and teaching others to buy from yourself and getting paid when you teach them to do that. So it sounds very attractive to them. And when they see it, the belief that they can very easily make a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand, that stands out very solidly for them. And in a time frame where for the very first time in modern history, the average cost of living today, this year right now, is now $5,000 higher than the median income here in the United States of America. So bottom line is this is highly attractive, mostly to younger people, but it's highly attractive. So when you look from 59 up through today, you can see the top 10 companies in our industry as of last year. You probably recognize Amway, Herbalife, EXP, Prime America, Nu Skin. The other ones, unless you've been in the industry a lot and especially done international, may not mean a lot to you, but these are the top 10 as of last year. Right now, as of 23, there's over 1,100 home-based business companies here in the United States, and over 2,500 of them worldwide. 114 million active independent business owners right now on the books of companies doing 180 billion in annual revenue. And there's more new ones being added every single year. See, you and I today, we could launch a brand new network marketing company for under $100,000. You can get the basic package from any of the MLM attorneys for under $10,000. You can get a very basic off-the-shelf software system. Now, it's not going to be fantastic. It's not going to have all these reports, but you could literally launch with that. You can get somebody off of Elance or Fiverr halfway around the world to create websites and videos and marketing materials, especially with AI, that look like you're $1 billion company. And you can hire a formulator and say, here's exactly 2 or 3 products that we want. And you can literally find manufacturers today, because of the way that technology exists, that will literally allow you to buy as few as 1,000 containers or bottles or tubes of your product. So for under $100,000, you could start a company, start recruiting, run a pre-launch, let people know they can get started selling $1,000 packages, and you can literally grow and fund your company right out of the gates if you have a lot of luck on your side. But that, even though it sounds attractive to some, it's one of the biggest problems our industry is facing today. The fact that you can start a company that people are going to come and put their $1,000 on the table for and put their hopes in their future in the hands of that company. Now, I'm not going to say 1 out of 1,000,000 may make it, but you see the history of what's happened in the industry. 99% of them aren't going to be here in 5 years. So when you look at that, out of the thousands and thousands of companies over 64 plus years, the interesting thing, there's one anomaly out of all these thousands of companies, and it created more success and faster than all the others combined. It was the fastest company ever to hit 1 billion annual revenue, and it did it only in the United States. Now you got to realize that this was back in the late 1980s and early 1990s. See, in 1986, AT&T, which we all know today, they owned all the phone service in the United States. came in. Excel was not the first in the home-based business arena to go after this. There were a few that had done it before Excel. However, the interesting point is Excel was the first one to get the model right. So in the late 80s, they got started. And literally in 8 years, they went to 1.4 billion in annual revenue. They didn't have companies merge in with them. They didn't acquire other companies. They didn't pay leaders to come over. There weren't all these business contracts. Heck, you didn't have Zoom back then, didn't even have email back then. People literally were presenting by flipping a flip chart. And this is not talking about the olden days. It's just a fact to establish what we're talking about and what they did. There's companies that have got to 1 billion faster today, but they had all the technology. They opened in multiple countries instantly. This was only in the United States, only in the United States. And the interesting thing, still through today, they had the highest customer to rep ratio in the history of the industry. Hasn't been surpassed yet. It's getting ready to. They also had the best customer retention still in the history of the industry. Their customers, matter of fact, in the telecommunications industry, they stayed with Excel 7 times longer than all of the other competitors in the market, which were not home-based business companies. And on top of that, their cost to acquire a new customer was 1/3 of what all the other companies were paying to get a customer. So if you can acquire, think of any business model, acquire a customer for 1/3 the cost, but keep them 7 times longer. And that's a business model that people will sign up for every single day. They had more people at that point making 1 million annually than ever had been done in the industry. More people making over 100,000 at that time. The first person to ever make over $1 million a month was in that company. There's so much more. I could go on and on and on. But the reason I'm sharing this is not necessarily just for what that company did, because there's more behind the story. You see, there was something much bigger going on at that time, and it was the biggest public corporate battle that has ever happened up until that time in the history of business. And I don't even know up until recently, I don't know if there's one that's ever passed that. Back then, they were spending over $100 million a year in TV ads, and that's in the early 1990s. And when you look at the industry, when you look at the cost of a TV ad, which was nothing compared to today, I don't even know if a Super Bowl ad cost over $100,000 back then, much less millions for 30 seconds. But they paid Whitney Houston, AT&T paid Whitney Houston $20 million to sing for an AT&T commercial. I don't think most people make $20 million to make a commercial today. And back then, that'd probably be like paying 50 or 60 or 70 million today. On the left, Candace Bergen. Well, she had a TV show. It was probably one of the most popular TV shows at the time called Murphy Brown. And Sprint, US Sprint, they said we had this new digital fiber optic network, and she dropped a pin. Said you can hear the digital crystal clear fiber optic network of Sprint. And on the left, you had MCI with this friends and family. They said, sign up your 20 closest family and friends. And when you call them back and forth, you're going to save 20 to 30% calling inside this circle. So they were spending $100 million a year back then, advertising, just battling each other. And you didn't have caller ID at the time. So guess what happened? About 6 o'clock at dinner, when you pick up your phone, about 1 out of every 3 calls was a telemarketing call for one of them trying to get you to switch. That's what everybody was doing. That's what Excel did. They said, leave AT&T, come with us. Leave MCI, come with us. Leave Sprint, come with us. And guess what? You saved on average, the average phone bill when I was involved was about $32 a month just for the long distance portion. And you saved about $3, enough to buy like a 2-liter Coke. So it wasn't like this massive savings. It wasn't this huge benefit to the consumer. It's just they had to pay the bill anyways. They could save a little bit, and they were helping a family or friend. It was all about the relationship. And on top of that, these companies started sending checks in the mail. Nobody read the small print. It said, cash this check on behalf of AT&T. Thank you. Cash this check on behalf of the other companies. And guess what? The big print was cash this check. They started with $5 checks and went all the way up to $150 for a home phone line. But when you cash that check, the small print on the back said, by cashing this check, I authorize them to change my long distance carrier from who they are currently with. So all this money, all this focus, all this advertising, this battle just to get somebody's long distance phone, that tells you the profitability that was in that industry. So now, guess what? Timing was on Excel's side. And timing is to business what location is to real estate. It's everything. It's everything. In business, you don't want to be too early because that's called the bleeding edge. You don't want to be too late because you've missed the wave. On time, which is the leading edge, is where you want to be. And they had a perfect timing story. Absolutely. It was a massive industry transition, literally a cultural movement, because nothing like that had ever happened in the history of business. But guess what? Guess what? It's happening again. History is 100%. And if you haven't been listening, I hope you're listening now. 100% repeating itself. The battle for our dollars, the battle for our dollars. It's literally the battle of all battles. It's the largest battle in the history of the world. It's the largest industry in the world. It's this industry, this multi-trillion-dollar industry is right now at war. And make no mistake about it. You can think our business is debit cards. You can think our business is e-commerce. Our business is money. Our business is money. And this is the industry we're playing in. How many times have you heard this? What's in your wallet? We've all heard this. Can't even count how many times we've heard this. Financial institutions are using rewards to create loyalty. And why are they doing that? Because loyalty creates longevity of our money for them over time. They understand human psychology. Get somebody hooked early, and people just don't like to change. They're loyal. How big is this, by the way? How big is it right now? Well, guess what? Bank of America in 22, $37 million spent on measured media advertising just for credit cards. Capital One, $650 million. That's why you're hearing what's in your wallet so much. American Express, $426 million. MasterCard, $100 million. This is just four. There's a bunch of others out there. They say that it's going to be over $30 billion in 23, and it's increased 54% in the last 2 years. Notice the parallel of what I was talking about with Sprint, AT&T, and MCI. It is happening right now. It's absolutely happening right now. And their weapon of choice, it's simple. It's rewards. Rewards wars are in full swing. I don't know about you, but I get email campaigns. I get things in the mail. I mean, I probably get half a tree every single week. It's crazy. I hate that they send these things. And you know what they do? They'll put once again, the big print giveth, the small print taketh away. $1,500 if you spend this much over the first 3 months only. Well, who does that? Very few people ever do that, but they're doing everything. They're giving you more and more and more, but it's still pennies on the dollar. It's pennies on the dollar. This is how serious they are about it. They understand psychology. They understand there's a reason why people who started drinking Coke as kids still drink Coke today. They understand that many people who were kids that fell in love with a favorite sports team that their parents loved are still fans of that sports team today. They're coming for our kids. And you know what? They can't give them credit cards right now. So they said, let's give them debit cards today. Let's give them debit cards. And as soon as they turn 18, bam, guess what happens? They're going to be hit with a Chase credit card. Make no mistake about it. This is what's happening today. And it's huge. The stakes are huge. 160 billion annually in swipe fees. That's in the United States. And last year alone from 21 to 22, it grew by 16.7%. See, they understand that this is the gateway. This is where it all starts. It's the lowest barrier to entry. You get people started right here, then all of a sudden, people's loyalty, which is an absolute marketing phenomenon, make no mistake about it. Just talk to anybody in psychology, and they will tell you all the studies that have been done on this. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent on creating loyalty of customers to brands. And it's a start because it's a gateway. And then you add personal loans, car loans, mortgages, HELOCs. You look at the United States and you look at the world, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. You and I have never, ever done anything in business that is as big as what is going on right here, because this is a war, and it's a war for money. And growth is what creates wealth. If you're in an industry that's declining, get out as fast as you can. If you're in a stagnant industry, try to find something else because it's going nowhere. But if an industry is growing, that's where you want to be. And the faster that industry is growing, the bigger the growth potential, the bigger the potential for you. Well, guess what? Now you know. It is happening. It's again, this is absolutely the biggest financial wave that 99% of all of us have ever seen, or I believe we'll ever see in our lifetimes. I'm not sure about you. Sitting here today, would you say, I may see another one of these in 5 or 10 or 15 years. So I'm not going to take Transact Card too seriously. I mean, I might play, I might do something, but I think I'm going to wait until the next one comes along. Not me. I got a chance to see it once. Guys, this is one of my favorite sayings of all time. I very first heard it at Mastery University with Tony Robbins. It's in moments of decision that your destiny is determined. You and I right now are here today because of the decisions we made in the past. and we will be where we are tomorrow, next week, next month, next year in San Antonio. We're going to be there based on the decisions that we make right now today. So now that you know this, what will you do? What will you do? My suggestion is you finish strong in December right now, because that's going to put you in a position to start fast in 2024. And as we hear these holidays, and I'm going to wrap up on this, and Eric talked about it, historically in our industry, if you look at every single company in our industry, one of the slowest times of the year is literally from the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. A lot of people think it's to the first of the year. It's not. It's until Super Bowl weekend in the United States, not talking the rest of the world. But if you study direct selling statistics for companies, and if you look at companies, the two slow times, obviously one is the summer, the other one is literally from the Wednesday before Thanksgiving all the way to literally the week right after Super Bowl. And then it picks up. That's been it historically. So normally what happens is people enjoy the holidays. Guess what? We're not saying don't do that. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of the holidays, family and friends and festivities and all the things that go with it, parades, football games, everything. I'm going to enjoy it. And we want you to enjoy it too. There's no reason not to. But guess what's different now? The thing that's different right now is you and I have what I believe is the most powerful product that has ever existed in the world of business up to today for the average American family and soon families around the world. Where have you ever seen anything for $25, even a year, $25 a year, where you can inject hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars of extra financial value each and every month, starting in the next 30 days in people's households? Have you ever seen anything like this? I'm not just talking home-based business. I'm talking anything in the history of business. And you and I have this. And forget that there's almost 8 billion people on the planet. There's 350 million people in America. And we got 100,000 people that had said yes to the Transact card. And I'm telling you, probably half of them don't even truly understand what they have their hands on. Other than the 1,500 of us that are here, I promise you 99.9% of the other people that are in the company, they have no idea about what we're talking about here. To say that this next year is the most powerful year that we're ever going to see is absolutely probably the most important statement that we can ever state. And I'm telling you that these holiday times right now, you don't have to go out there and try to build a huge business in the next month, but what you can do is reach out to people. Reach out to people and focus on them. How are they doing? What's been going on? What are they excited about for the upcoming year? And I promise you, through conversation, you'll find something. And through conversation, they're going to ask you, what's new with you? What are you excited about in 2024? I'll tell you what, I'm excited. I absolutely getting ready to start this brand new franchise next year. I've got a start of a business now. We've got the most powerful product in the history of business. It's a fintech company with a Finmo account. And we're helping families to put an extra few hundred or few $1,000s a month into their household. Well, what are you doing? How do you do that? You don't have to go try to enroll a bunch of people. Just spend time with people. Eric, you said it earlier, brother. It's the holidays, 1 a day, 3 a day. Who couldn't call 3 people just to check in on them with no other motive other than to check in, knowing that some of them are going to say, what's up with you? Brother, thanks so much for allowing me to be here with you tonight.
Hey, no. Ladies and gentlemen, Scotty Merker, give him some emoji love out there, brother. That was just, we just got our PhD in just business in general, relationship driven marketing, bro. We are so blessed to have you. It would be all ego if I just kept talking. Now I'm going to end with that. You heard from Scotty, and just think that's just the first of many times you get to hear from Scotty Merker. Scotty, can I put your cell phone number out there? I've got about 82 people that are texting me wanting to contact you. I won't do that to you before the holidays, maybe afterwards, but we're so grateful to have you, bro. Absolutely brilliant. Power of now. Friends, let's finish this week, each and every day leading up to the new year strong. God bless you all. Let's get out there and truly change the world. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a great evening. Love you, bud. Great job.
Love you too, brother.